Remember those quiet corners of your childhood, where the world felt bigger and full of secrets. Places whispered about in old letters or half-remembered stories from folks long gone. America is dotted with them. Towns that once buzzed with life, laughter, and dreams, now standing silent under the weight of time. Today, we're flipping through the pages of history to uncover 10 forgotten cities you never knew existed. These are the ghost towns that shaped our past, each with a tale of boom and fade that tugs at the heart. Let's step back and listen to their echoes. 1. Cahaba, Alabama's whispered first capital. Picture a young nation stretching its legs in the early 1800s, and there, along the Alabama River, sits Cahaba, the state's very first capital. Founded in 1819, it was a hub of hope, with grand homes rising from the mud and steamboats chugging in with goods from distant ports, drawing families who dreamed of cotton fields and quiet prosperity. What made it special was that fresh start spirit, a place where lawmakers debated under oak trees and kids played by the water's edge, feeling like the heart of something new. But floods came fierce in 1819, washing away the promise. And by the Civil War, it turned grim as a prison camp for Union soldiers, their spirit set to linger in the crumbling bricks today. The town slipped away after the war, its people scattering like leaves in the wind, leaving only ruins that whisper what might have been, a poignant reminder of nature's quiet pull. 2. Ruby, Arizona's shadowed mining jewel. Out in the rugged hills of southern Arizona, Ruby bloomed in the 1880s like a hidden gem, a mining town alive with the clink of pickaxes unearthing silver and the chatter of over 1,000 souls building a life from the earth. Folks here weren't just diggers. They ran schools, a post office, and even a little jail, turning raw desert into a tight-knit community where Friday dances lit up the nights under starry skies. Its special spark was that frontier warmth, the way neighbors shared stories over coffee at the general store, forging bonds stronger than the ore they chased. But shadows crept in during the 1920s with a string of murders that chilled the air, and when the mines ran dry by 1940, fear and emptiness drove everyone out, leaving the buildings to sag and ghosts to wander the shafts. It's a tale that aches, of trust broken and dreams buried deep. 3. Panamint City, California's cursed desert outpost. Deep in Death Valley's scorched embrace, Panamint City sprang up in 1872, born from outlaws who struck silver and turned their haul into a roaring camp of tents and timber, swelling to 2,000 hopefuls chasing fortune in the blistering heat. What set it apart was its wild, unbreakable grit. The saloons overflowing with tall tales, a newspaper printing news by lantern light, and a sense of defiance against the unforgiving land that made every sunset feel like a victory. Families arrived, too, planting roots with gardens that bloomed against all odds, painting pictures of resilience in the dust. Yet curses seemed to follow. Cave-ins swallowed men, floods ravaged streets in 1873, and fires licked the edges until silver veins gave out by 1877, sending the last stragglers packing into the haze. Today, its scattered stones tell a somber story of ambition's fragile thread. For Animas Forks, Colorado's mountain-held secret, high in Colorado's San Juan Mountains, where snow caps the peaks year-round, Animas Forks took shape in 1873 as a silver mining haven, its wooden homes and mills hugging the hills like old friends, home to hardy families who skied to work in blizzards. It was special for that unyielding community heart. The way a single general store served as town hall, school, and social spot, weaving lives together with yarns of endurance and the simple joy of a hot meal after a frozen day. At its peak in the 1880s, over 400 called it home, their laughter echoing off the rocks. But the brutal winter of 1884 buried it under 25 feet of snow, stranding folks for months and breaking spirits when the mines faltered soon after, leading to a quiet exodus by the early 1900s. Faded boards now stand as gentle monuments to those who held on a little too long. 5. St. Elmo, Colorado's timeless tucked-away hamlet, nestled in Colorado's Chalk Creek Canyon. St. Elmo flickered to life in 1880, a gold and silver rush town that grew to 2,000 strong, its false front stores and bustling hotel painting a canvas of Old West charm amid the evergreens. What made it truly endearing was the everyday magic, the ghost town that wasn't quite, with a general store still stocking candy for visitors and tales of the Stark family, who stayed on as reclusive keepers of the flame, their loyalty a quiet love letter to the past. Railroads hummed through, carrying dreams and dances that fill the air with fiddle music on summer eves. Yet when they were played out by the 1920s, the train stopped and most packed up, leaving the Starks to fade away in the 1950s. Their empty home a soft sigh in the wind. It's like stumbling on a preserved memory, warm with what once was. 6. Rhyolite, Nevada's faded boomtown mirage. In the vast Mojave Desert of Nevada, Rhyolite erupted in 1904 after a gold strike, skyrocketing to 10,000 residents with a bank of marble, an opera house, and even a stock exchange, a glittering proof that the West could rival any city back east. Its magic lay in that explosive optimism. The bottle house built from desert glass, schools ringing with children's voices, and porches where neighbors swap hopes over evening pipes, turning sand into a symphony of possibility. Trains arrived daily, laden with builders and believers, crafting a skyline from nothing. But the gold rush was a fleeting dream. By 1916, the mines tapped out. The panic of 1907 crashed the market, and the desert reclaimed it all, leaving sun-bleached ruins that tugged at the soul with echoes of squandered promise. 7. Berlin, Nevada's echo of distant homelands. Tucked in Nevada's Shoshone Mountains, Berlin rose in the 1890s, named by German miners who poured their old-world craft into gold veins, creating a company town of sturdy stone homes and a mill that hummed like a heartbeat, drawing families from across the sea. What warmed it was that immigrant spirit, the sauerkraut suppers in community halls, the way accents mingled in the schoolyard, building a little Europe amid the sagebrush that felt like home no matter how far you'd wandered. At its height around 1905, 250 souls thrived there, their lives a blend of toil and tender traditions. Strikes shut the mine in 1907, the ore dwindled by 1911, and World War I called the young men away, leaving the winds to whisper through empty doorways, a gentle fade of borrowed roots. 8. Bodie, California's preserved gold dust memory. Up in California's eastern Sierra, Bodie ignited in 1859 as a modest camp, exploding in the 1870s with gold fever that brought 10,000 dreamers, their saloons and stamp mills a raucous backdrop to fortunes won and lost under vast blue skies. It stood out for its raw, lived-in authenticity. The 110 buildings frozen in time, from the undertaker's parlor to the miner's bunkhouse, each telling stories of joy and hardship like chapters in a well-thumbed book. Churches rang on Sundays, and the air carried the scent of pine and possibility, binding folks in a shared gamble. But fires ravaged it in 1892, the gold thinned by 1912, and the last holdouts left during World War II, turning bustling streets to brooding silence. Wandering its paths today feels like touching yesterday's hand. 9. Garnet, Montana's gold rush relic. Hidden in Montana's Garnet Mountains, Garnet gleamed in the 1890s. A gold camp that swelled to 1,000 with 13 saloons lighting the nights, where prospectors traded nuggets for songs and suppers in a valley alive with ambition. Its charm was in the unpolished warmth. The women who ran boarding houses with fresh-baked pies. The kids racing through camps that felt like one big, rowdy family picnic under the big sky. By 1905, it was a proper town with a schoolhouse and post office, dreams panning out in every stream. World War I lured the miners east in 1918. A brief revival in the 1930s crumbled with the next war, and by 1943, it stood empty, its 30 cabins a soft lament for interrupted lives. 10. Kennecott, Alaska's copper legacy in the wild. Far up in Alaska's Wrangell Mountains, Kennecott was forged in 1903 from copper riches, a company town of 300 that scaled sheer cliffs with mills and mansions, workers trekking on narrow gauge rails through untamed wilderness. What made it unforgettable was that frontier grandeur, the Grand Hotel with its white tablecloths, the way families gathered for movies under northern lights, carving civilization from ice and stone like a bold adventure tale. At its 1911 peak, it powered the world with red metal for wires and ships, a beacon of human pluck. But by 1938, the high grader vanished. Prices plunged and the last train left, stranding echoes in the bunkhouses. A wistful close to an epic chapter. There you have it. 10 quiet chapters from America's hidden album. Places that remind us how fleeting our footprints can be, yet how deeply they touch the heart. Which of these lost worlds calls to you the most? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Give this a like if it stirred memory, and hit subscribe so we can keep unwrapping the past together.